Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 24th. You have this occupation card that says work, business, labor, hobbies, projects, self-employment, a lot of effort, all mental and physical activities. You have this main female card, which is probably just you. Even if you're not a female, doesn't matter. Sometimes I think these cards are just talking about the person I'm reading for. And so I feel like you are focused maybe on work, at least at maybe the first part of this week. One thing I will say is I feel this week is probably going to be a little bit more motivational for water signs. Neptune goes direct on the 27th, and so I don't know. I just feel good about it, which is a good thing. I think that sometimes, Neptune retrograde for water signs can maybe feel a little bit slow or uninspired. It's like, you're looking for something to excite you or you're looking for something to motivate you, but you can't find it. And so I do feel this week there's like a little bit more forward movement going on this week, which of course is a good thing. You start here in your current general energies with the Four of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. Four of Wands can be marriage, but, I think the Four of Wands is really talking about freedom for you. The Four of Wands is the card of freedom. It is a card of setting yourself free. It is a card of finishing something. This right here is like a finish line. We have to get to the other side of the card to celebrate with those people. And so if you've been working on anything, especially with that occupation card, it might be time to finish. Especially if you're trying to be perfect. The reason I say that is we have the Ten of Wands here, and the Ten of Wands can be burdens, of course, but it's like sometimes I think with the Ten of Wands that, especially if you're working on something specific, it can say that you have created a burden, where it's like you're going back over it over and over and over again, you're reworking things, fixing things, all that, but at a certain point, like, you gotta, put something out into the world. So, I think that the Four of Wands, and I actually, like, other things that are going on in this reading as well, are saying that you're ready to put something out into the world. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, Nine of Wands says don't give up, keep going. I have a feeling that I'm going to see a lot of Nine of Wands this week. You're only the second reading that I'm doing this week, but I just have a feeling a lot of people are going to get the Nine of Wands because I feel like people are tired. I feel like people need a break, and I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't take a break, but what I am suggesting is that we shouldn't give up on anything that has taken a lot of effort. I feel people need to realize just how close they are, and if you keep going, eventually you're going to reach the finish line on whatever it is that you're working on or doing. It doesn't have to be work. It could be something personal. It could be something about your health or whatever. And I just feel this is saying, like, keep going. You are very, very close at this time. You have with the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. Seven of Wands says when you know that you know, when you truly believe deep down inside that something is for you, it's for you. So maybe working, especially if you're tired, if you're working towards some sort of finish line in your life, and if you're tired, you might need to tell yourself, brainwash yourself to cross that finish line, right? Just tell yourself I'm close. And I think it's true as well here, Cancer. I feel the reading itself is saying you are very close to a finish line. And if you don't give up, you're going to get there faster than you know. And I would just keep pushing with this energy. Seven of Wands can also say that you feel like you're not ready for something. And this has been coming up for you off and on. I'm pretty sure all year, all 2025, this has been coming up for you. And so I feel that you are ready is basically what this is saying, and you need to keep pushing for sure. But no, what I wanted to say there, Cancer, is that you are, I think you're much more ready for something than you think, even if you feel like you're not ready to do something. With the Four of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups can be innocence and nostalgia. The middle of the month readings that I just did had a lot of stuff about fun, having fun, doing things that bring you joy and happiness. Like every single sign had something about it. So I definitely feel it's time for people to focus more on fun, enjoying themselves, doing things they enjoy, doing things they love. And if you do that, I feel things will go a lot better. So I really just feel this is talking about focusing on that childlike energy. You're a Cancer. Cancer is childlike energy. So being more playful, making sure to make time to have fun and to fill up your fun bucket, as I love saying, that's what I would be doing here. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Ten of Cups. Love it. Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty, happy home, happy family. Pretty good for love if you want love here, this reading. Ten of Cups can be, it's kind of a dating card to me, even though there's a family here. Like if you're already with a person, sure, that it could be the person you're committing to. But if you don't have a person, I always think of the Ten of Cups as being a good card of meeting people, getting out into your community. It is a card of your community. So it could represent like getting out into public, Cancer, and finding a person. So, and you have the Knight of Cups coming up as well. So I would definitely put yourself out there if that's what you're looking for. With the Seven of Wands, you have the Page of Pentacles. It could be an earth sign. It could be any sign. But you have a lot of Capricorn. You have the Devil and you have the Queen of Pentacles. Capricorn is your opposite sign. So sometimes opposite signs can do very well together. The Page of Pentacles is like communication. I'm pretty sure I've been saying this to you forever, that, if you're going to get into something, it could start with communication or talking first and then kind of like go from there. So that makes sense. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Caduceus card. It says, you will receive news from afar. Page of Pentacles definitely can be news. You have this Chimera. It says, imagination clouds your judgment. Yes, no telling yourself stories. Probably the worst thing we can do right now because Neptune is still in Pisces. It's not worth it to tell yourself a story about something because it's just like anything we do is not going to go that way, right? And so that's the problem with Neptune and Pisces, I feel, is that we tell ourselves a story and then the reality doesn't match the fantasy, more or less. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but, we can get disappointed. The other thing is, with Neptune and Pisces, is we can live the fantasy in our head because we're telling ourselves a story, and then we never make that fantasy a reality. So I do feel this is saying that, this doesn't have to be love, Cancer. This could be any story that you're telling yourself. I do feel it would be a good time to make sure that you're bringing those fantasies down into earth, down to reality. Again, Ten of Cups, they are celebrating these 10 cups exist above their heads. They don't have it here on earth. They're picking something to focus on, but they don't have it. So down to earth. You have the Devil, the Ten of Wands, and the Hangman. I would definitely still, I think for, pretty much the rest of the year, we should be avoiding things that are toxic, anything that seems toxic, any people that seem toxic. We should definitely be being careful of, entertaining those people or spending time with those people. Any toxic habits are great to get rid of. I think we should all be watching our health at the end of the year here. Again, I can't say too much, but, I would just stay healthy. It's pretty simple. Do the things that make you healthy and you'll be perfectly fine. And that's what I would do with the Devil. You have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands can be carrying a heavy burden. Again, I feel the burden is perfection, is what the burden is here, Cancer. You're trying to make something perfect, or you keep revisiting something. At a certain point, just something has to be done. And you just have to, no matter what, you just have to put it out there, right, into the world. And when it's done, right? And so if you have a project or something you're working on where you just keep reworking it, I feel like it's time to get it out there. It's as perfect as it's going to be. And now, if you just put it out there, you'll be able to move on to the next thing, whatever it is. The Ten of Wands can also say, of course, look at your obligations. Any obligations you have, look at them and ask yourself, does this belong to me or does this belong to someone else? And I would get rid of the obligations that belong to other people. You have enough on your plate. This says you can only handle so much. Pretty much all of us can only handle so much. And if you lighten the load, you will get to the finish line, your home back here, much faster. He's about to have a harvest. I always say this is a good card to me. He's burdened, but he is also very close to his goal. So, but sometimes we have to get rid of some things to get there faster. You have the Hangman. Hangman is going to be a very common card over the next many years with Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is retrograding in Taurus right now, but next year it moves back into Gemini. And, it's already been in Gemini, so we've already experienced the energy. Hangman is about seeing things from a different perspective. And so it's an amazing time to anything you're doing, anything you're working on, to look at it from a different perspective or try to see if there's another way to accomplish the goal or whatever it is. Because if you find another way, you're working with the energy. But, he's looking at things upside down. So sometimes we have to flip things on their heads and do the opposite of what everybody else is doing to be successful. And that's what I would do with that card. With the devil, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? I always say, like, tarot shouldn't be drama, 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 right? The devil doesn't have to be like something super bad. It can just be something that's stealing a little bit of your energy, right? And that's what I would be looking at. Are there like little things in your life that are stealing your energy? Seven of Pentacles says, is it worth it? I don't know. Maybe, sometimes maybe there are things that use your energy that are good. Sometimes there are things that, use your energy that are bad. And that's what I would be removing from your life. Seven of Pentacles, we have to analyze our situation. We have to say, like, is this worth it or not? With the Ten of Wands, you have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, something is dead done over with in your life. Probably something that's causing a burden or something that is weighing you down. And the Ten of Swords I consider to be a good card as well. You have a lot of tens here, but the Ten of Swords can be a blessing in disguise. He's making this symbol here with his hand that represents a blessing in disguise. So, not all burdens are bad, and releasing things isn't always a bad thing. In this case, I think it's a good thing for you to cut things out that are just weighing you down, that are slowing you down, that are getting in the way, right? With the Hangman, you have the Star. The Star can be like hope, faith, renewal, can be a blessing. The star can represent having a North Star, having a guiding light, which I definitely feel would be very beneficial for Cancer, for sure. So if there's something you want to accomplish, make it your focus and take one step towards it every single day. The other thing, Cancer, that I've been saying to you all year is you can't just dip your toes in the water. You have to make the full commitment to whatever it is you're working on. You have to go all the way. You have to dive all the way in to this pool, and you have to make something happen. And so that's what I would do with this card. I would make sure that you're making like the full commitment to things that you want, and you're diving all the way in, not just trying something, but doing something. And if you do that, it'll probably lead to big changes. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this higher power card and this chop wood card. Yeah, your higher power, your higher self is probably communicating with you. This is coming up in the area of your future self, like your future self, what your future self would tell you this week before you get to the end of the week. And so clearly your higher self, future self, your guides, whatever, they are wanting to communicate with you this week. So making time to do that would be a good idea. Like I said at the beginning of the reading, I do feel it's going to be a very busy time for you. I feel that Neptune direct is going to feel really good for water signs, like I said. I just feel that you're going to feel like you can make progress, like you can move forward, and you also find inspiration. Star is inspiring. And so if you're inspired to work on something and you work on it, obviously it could lead to a lot of success here, Cancer. Next, you have the Knight of Cups, Knight of Swords, and the Page of Wands showing up in the area of messages from your future self. The Knight of Cups could be a knight in shining armor, of course, coming in for you. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be love. If you're not, could be working on the Star. The Knight of Cups is very dreamy, and he has a dream. He just has to plant seeds in front of this water here, and those seeds will grow. So the Knight of Cups sometimes I feel is about just getting started, making it happen here, Cancer. And if you do that, I feel good things will happen. I also feel you're like seeing a little bit of the future. Some readers say that he is scrying. He is looking into this cup, and he is like seeing his future intuitively. I would be paying attention to your dreams, especially with that higher power card. Your dreams, your daydreams, intuitive thoughts you have could be literally telling you like what is going to happen in your future, and I would pay attention. You have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords can be being too hasty or rushing towards something, more or less. So definitely no rushing at this time. And the other thing I would say is speed. There's, if you, I wouldn't really call this a love reading, but if you are attracting love, it just seems to me like there is nerves going on here, Cancer, or something. It's like maybe you're afraid of moving too quickly, or maybe the other person is moving too quickly, or maybe there are moments where things do move quickly and then they slow down and then you get nervous. Like all those things are popping into my head here. And so obviously communication is going to be very important. If things like speed up and then slow down and you're getting nervous, maybe you should just call it out, right? In the connection. I think that would help the most. So, don't be afraid of speaking up with this Knight of Swords energy. I also I don't totally feel bad about this either. I feel with the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Swords that things are speeding up for you in general, which is good. Definitely a good thing for things to be moving forward more quickly. Probably because you're lightening the load. You have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is about just going on an adventure, being happy-go-lucky, practicing non-attachment to outcome, which obviously that would be a good thing for you here, Cancer. I feel if you're like getting into a connection, don't automatically think you have to marry the person. Just see how it goes, right? Just be willing to go on the adventure. And having that attitude will probably help you the most with the Page of Wands. We also have the Star. And again, the Star can be very inspirational. The Page of Wands, he just simply follows his enthusiasm and his inspirations. If something is exciting to him, he does it. If something isn't exciting to him, he doesn't do it. So I feel following your inspirations will be a good idea. Cancer, make sure to like and leave a comment. By the way, it really helps me out. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Devil again. Again, could be a Capricorn for sure. You have the Devil twice here. Obviously, if someone seems toxic or is toxic, I would trust that and I would avoid it. As I always say, it doesn't matter what I say. I can say this is a good person, but you're all different. So, obviously, if the person is showing a lot of toxic signs and symbols, then I would be careful of it. This could also represent like one person in the connection needs to let go of something that was toxic, right? So if you have a toxic, if your last ex was super toxic, then, maybe healing from that will bring you someone new. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Five of Pentacles. Keep going. Five of Pentacles, Knight of Swords is we are on a path. We're doing something in life. We're getting very close to the finish line here. And we think, oh, I can't keep going because I don't have this resource, whatever the resource is. But the secret is you do. And so the Knight of Swords, I feel sometimes he gets to a certain point in the reading and then he's running back to the past. He's thinking, I can't cross the finish line, but you can. Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. No matter what, you need to keep pushing forward and do it anyway. And I know that's not a good answer, but, this is saying even if you feel like you can't keep doing something, I feel like if you keep pushing forward, the resources will show up. The Five of Pentacles has a very easy solution. These people could easily go inside this church that's behind them. The church behind them represents a place of sanctuary. So it can represent needing to ask for help, needing to ask a person for help, needing to find assistance or guidance or whatever. And so don't be afraid of doing that because, again, I feel the whole entire reading is saying you're about to push through a finish line. Don't give up now. With the Page of Wands, you have the Queen of Swords. Clarity. This retrograde, this Mercury retrograde we're having, which ends on the 29th, I think that's next week. I don't know how many days are in a week, so whatever. I rarely ever know what day it is anyway. But what I would say here is on the 29th, the retrograde comes to an end. This retrograde, a lot of people have been getting the Queen of Swords. So it seems to me that it is a retrograde that is bringing in a lot of answers. And you, in particular, Cancer, have been getting a lot of these readings that talk about answers or clarity and getting answers based off of things that you've been trying to get answers on. So overall, I feel pretty positive about the Queen of Swords coming up for you. The other thing I'm getting here is like a lot of communication energy. So especially if you're dealing with a new person, I would say communication is going to be your best friend. Calling things out is going to be your best friend because I think if someone's acting weird or if you're not sure, if you just call it out, you'll get an answer and you'll solve the problem, right? I think that 2026, next year, it's going to be really important that we solve problems quickly. Next year is the year of the horse in the Chinese, zodiac, Chinese astrology. And it's all about momentum and freedom. But we have to keep the momentum going. That means if there's like little things that pop up that are slowing us down, we need to call it out so we can keep, going forward quickly, right? And so don't be afraid of communicating with that card. Next in the area of the good stuff, you have this Pegasus card. It says Muse, Fame, Sacred Springs. You have this Cougar. It says Motherhood, Sensuality, and Reverence. So you're probably a cougar out there. Maybe some of you are, Cancer. But I feel a lot of you are birthing new ideas that could make you very successful. I would nurture your ideas. Again, we're entering into a time of nurturing energy as well. Anything that's worth doing is going to be worth really treating like a baby, raising it up, nurturing it, giving it good nutrients so it can grow. And this goes for relationships, projects, businesses, careers, whatever you're doing, yourself, your health, all those things. I would really focus on how you can nurture the things that you care about. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Five of Cups, the Four of Swords, and the Queen of Pentacles. Five of Cups in the good stuff would say that you are not going to regret something. It's a card of regrets. It's a card of gratitude. It's a card of needing to be grateful. Again, fives have very easy solutions. The solution to the Five of Cups is gratitude, but it's coming up in the good stuff, so I feel like you are finally letting something go and probably seeing these two cups, which is going to lead to this bridge and this castle over here, Cancer. So it's like you're discovering something new in your life that's going to lead to fulfillment or security. But it's definitely something new. It's definitely on the other side of a finish line, finishing something so that you can have something else. And that would be my focus. You have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords can be resting, relaxing, recovering. Again, very typical retrograde card because, this is probably what we should be doing during a retrograde: resting, relaxing, recovering, praying, meditating, asking for blessings like this person is right here, is being blessed by another person. He is hoping and praying for blessings. So there could be some sort of blessing that you've been hoping and praying for coming in for you, which of course would be great. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is about resourcefulness. I do feel you are going to be growing your resources. I feel the thing for Cancer is more. I feel you need more, and this is not like greed or materialism. Someone always takes it there, and I always have to unload on that person in the comments, right? So don't make me do that. But what I would say here is this is not about greed or anything like that. It's just, I believe people are meant to grow as much as possible. So I think you need to think about that. It's like, if you're working on a project, how can you get more out of it? How can you make a bigger impact? How can you stand out? The Queen of Pentacles is about multiplication. She has this rabbit right here. The rabbit can be fears, anxiety, abundance, fertility, but can also represent multiplying something. And it's like, if you can get more of a result out of your work or whatever you're working on or whatever you're creating, then I would, even if it requires you to stretch a little bit, because it'll increase your resources. With the Five of Cups, you have the Nine of Cups. Yeah, getting something you've been wishing for or hoping for. You've been getting this for like weeks with me. Not necessarily talking about a wish, but it seems to me like you're looking for answers, or you're looking for a specific answer on something here, Cancer. Nine of Cups would be a wish or wish fulfillment, so there could be some sort of fulfillment here. With the Four of Swords, you have the Six of Wands. Yeah, Six of Wands is like a victory, a success, standing out, which I definitely feel water signs need to stand out right now. We have the Star, which is needing to stand out. The Star says you have to be the star. You have to be the hero of your own story, to use a cliche. And, the Six of Wands, he's on this high horse, but he earned his right to be on that horse and this could be like you crossing the finish line. Like I said, it could be you finally having that victory. Six of Wands is not necessarily an easy card. He's been to war, and now he's coming back from war. So he's been through a difficult period of time. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Fool. Yeah, it's about taking a leap of faith, really. I'm pretty sure you get the Fool with me all the time, Cancer. The Fool is about taking the risk of looking like a fool. The Fool says you have to take the risk of potentially having people call you a fool, or people being like, what the hell are you doing with your life, and things like that. And if you do that, that is where your success will come from. So yeah, don't be afraid of like taking a leap of faith, standing out, getting attention, doing all those things. Obviously it's going to be good. You have this April card, and you have this Fair Man. It says dealings with relationships with a man with blonde, gray, or white hair. Could be a Taurus as well that you're attracting. Could be any sign, but if you're you have a lot of Earth is what I'm trying to spit out here, so it could be an Earth sign. I also feel there are big changes coming in April. Really March, but also April. So could be some big changes by that time. You have this key card. It says successful outcome to your problems. So yes, if you're dealing with any issues or problems, it looks to me like you're overcoming those issues. You have this boot. It says increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. Queen of Pentacles, for sure. That Queen of Pentacles wants you to stretch. That's what I feel in your reading. That's not necessarily what she represents, but I would increase your efforts on the things that multiply, the things that give more of a result than anything else, right? And that's what I would work on. You have this Vine card. It says seek out information that will help you. Amazing time for learning still. So anything that you can learn, if you're struggling in work or business or your health, go learn something about it and implement what you learned, and you'll probably be surprised with how much you're able to accomplish. You have this needle and thread. It says, a sincere wish is granted. There you go. 9 of Cups, right? So I feel, and also the not the 5 of Pentacles, sorry, the 4 of Swords. Both of these cards are kind of like hoping and praying for blessings, especially the 4 of Swords, but 9 of Cups is asking for a wish. So I would make a wish this week, Cancer. But this looks pretty good. I like it. So make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.